Hey everybody, we're going to be reacting to 12 strange things in South Korea that surprise an inexperienced traveler.
Yeah, because we're travelers, maybe we go to South Korea sometimes. We might need to know these strange things.
I've never been to Asia before, so I'm sure going to Asia would be like a whole culture shock. But alright, let's do this.
Yeah.
Hey, you heading to South Korea for your next vacation?
Not yet. Maybe.
Well, before you fill your belly with kimchi and then hit up a BTS concert, you'll need to get acquainted with some South Korean NoNos first. From slightly bizarre cultural faux pas to downright illegal bans, you'll want to know this. Starting with number 1. Don't tip at restaurants.
Okay, that's nice.
Even if the service was incredible, and chances are it will be, fight the urge to leave a tip, especially if you're from a country where that's the norm, like the US, for instance. Restaurant and cafe employees get paid really well, so tipping is seen as an incredibly rude gesture and a jab at their dignity.
Dang.
Really?
It's like disrespecting
Number 2,
them to give them money.
don't play with chopsticks.
Nope.
There are several
That would be us.
taboos
We'd be
that
like-
revolve around
We'd
chopsticks
be like, how do we eat this thing? Stab it?
in Korean culture. For example, if you mistakenly poke a hole in your food with chopsticks, then the host or chef might consider it an insult to their cooking skills.
Oh, man.
Holding the sticks vertically and sticking them vertically into rice are associated with death in South Korea
What the?
because it resembles the incense sticks stuck in the sand at funerals. Who would have known?
We cannot go to South Korea.
I don't know how to use chopsticks, man.
We're going to get beat up.
Number 3. Don't leave food on your plate. Now, this one seems pretty logical for most Americans. I can still hear my mom threatening me to clean my plate or I won't get dessert. But if you're from, say, China, you'll be shocked to hear that you shouldn't leave a little bit of food on your plate to show that you're stuffed full of the host's delicious meal. If you're going to East Asia, don't confuse Chinese and Korean table manners. When visiting someone's home in South Korea, it's impolite to refuse refreshments, and even more offensive if you don't finish what's been served. In cafes and restaurants, the staff might also reprimand you for leaving food on your plate.
What the? Okay, so when we go to South Korea, we better make sure we like the thing that we order.
Yeah, and we need to make sure we know how to use chopsticks and make sure not to tip.
And make sure we don't order too much food. Because sometimes when I was in Greece, we went to this restaurant and all these things sounded good, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I'm gonna get some fries. I'm gonna get some cheese, fried cheese, and I'm gonna get some gyros." And didn't even finish half of it. It's so much food.
Number 4. Stay away from the number 4. You might feel uneasy about the number 13, but a lot of countries in East Asia have the same attitude, only with the number 4.
Interesting.
And that includes South Korea. Some combinations of 4s are more feared than others, and numbers with multiple occurrences of the dreaded digit are even worse.
Wow.
This superstition comes down to the fact that, in Korean, the word for the number sounds similar to the words for decease and died. Well, now I can understand where they're coming from. You'll even see this phobia in action when you walk into an elevator or a public building.
You don't have 4?
There, floor number 4 and room number 4 are almost always left out. You might see the 4th floor labeled F in an elevator instead. Apartment numbers containing multiple occurrences of 4, such as 404, are avoided to the extent that the value of such a property can be negatively affected.
What the heck?
Wow.
Jeez.
Number 5. Don't give gifts to your teacher.
All right, that's not a
The
problem.
age-old tradition of giving gifts to teachers for Teachers' Day on May 15th was made illegal in South Korea
I didn't know that was a thing to begin
That's
with.
illegal?
back in September of 2016. The law prohibits teachers from receiving gifts from students or their
Maybe
parents.
it's like a bribe
It
kind
does,
of?
however,
guess, yeah.
allow paper carnations to be given by one student representative on behalf of the whole class
What the-
or to teachers who don't teach them anymore. So, if you're a student in South Korea or you plan on taking some classes there, be warned.
He's
Breaking
happy.
this law could mean a fine of up to $25,000
What?
or even prison time.
So they must take it as a bribe. Like you're
Yeah,
trying to
especially
bribe
if they're,
for
like,
good grades.
Hardcore learning school system type
Yeah.
stuff.
And if you do
That's
give
crazy.
or receive anything, be it a gift or food at the dinner table, Always use both hands to show respect.
Okay.
Number 6. Don't let your tattoos show.
Don't show them.
Many East Asian countries don't like tattoos, and they've even managed to encode this into their laws. In South Korea, it's illegal for tattoo artists to practice their work, and only licensed medical doctors are legally allowed to ink people. But a lot of locals will tell you that this law isn't enforced too heavily, and you can get a tattoo pretty easily. Still, people with tattoos are treated differently, so you may want to cover up yours if you plan a trip.
I think Jungkook from BTS has a tattoo on his hand. Wow, what is this video? Is it lying to us?
Well, are those usually covered up? I feel like that arm one I don't usually
I've never seen this one.
So I must cover that up.
No, here it is. I don't know, I noticed one on his hand. Yeah, like these ones. I never noticed his arm one. Yeah, maybe they are covered up. Interesting.
Especially the case if you're wanting to work or do business in Korea. It's best to keep the tats under wraps.
No, we're gonna get milked.
No, they're milking us!
Number 7. Don't wear plunging necklines.
What are these? Oh, okay. That was the. I was like, what are these cartoons that they're using?
Don't wear plunging necklines.
Oh.
Most people in the West are pretty relaxed about clothing, especially Americans. You do you and wear what you want, seems to be the general motto. But South Korea has a pretty interesting attitude when it comes to what's considered too revealing or not. For instance, a plunging neckline is considered too open among Koreans and is not suitable for wearing in public. A lot of women there will stick to high necklines or wear layers under low-cut tops just to err on the side of caution. However, the attitude toward miniskirts is drastically different. They're not only acceptable, but are also considered really fashionable. You'll see a lot of women wearing very short skirts in South Korea.
Yeah, a lot of the K-pop
and everybody's
girls
okay with it.
Short skirts.
Okay. Number 8. Don't make too much eye contact.
Oh.
I'm sure you, like a lot of people, have been taught that making eye contact with someone you're speaking to is a sign of politeness. It shows that you're listening attentively and are confident in what you're saying when it's your turn to speak. But in Korea, keeping eye contact is, pardon my pun, looked down upon because it's considered too bold. It's especially important to avoid looking directly into someone's eyes if they're older than you or if they have a higher position, like your boss. And that's because maintaining eye contact is your way of saying that you're on the same level as someone. That'd be an extremely rude move in this case. Number 9. Be careful when taking photos in public.
No vlogging when we go to South Korea. Hey guys!
Hey guys! We just feel like
if you're out and about in the streets of Seoul, or anywhere in the country for that matter, never take photographs with strangers in the frame. It might land you a fine or a night spent in the police station trying to prove that your intentions weren't malevolent or crude. The strictest part of the law is that you can't publish pictures of strangers. That includes on social media. But still, a lot of Koreans are just uncomfortable with people randomly snapping a pic of them without their knowing. And it makes sense, really, as far as privacy is concerned. You can always just be civilized and ask permission before taking someone's picture. Number 10. Don't get into arguments, especially with elders. You might well be a rocket scientist, but in South Korea, you have to listen to your elders, especially if they're rocket scientists too. Nah, just kidding about that last part. Societal hierarchy based on age is very rigid in this country.
It's a pyramid scheme.
And you'll probably be seen as unbelievably rude and disrespectful if you argue with someone who's older than you.
What if they're wrong?
Even if they cut in line and you've been waiting there for who knows how long. Just let it go if it's an elder.
I hate old people.
It's especially a good idea if you find your...
Like when they think that they like deserve it because they're...
Well, not even that. They're just like, sometimes they just instantly come up to me and they're rude. And it's like, oh.
Yeah, there are a lot of rude old people for some reason. And you're just like, get out of my face.
Huh. And there's some super nice ones too, like unnecessarily nice ones.
Yeah.
Yourself face to face with a mad Adzuma, translating to something like auntie in English, but not your relation.
Auntie?
These older women in their reputation in Korea. Basically, getting into any argument with an Azuma can be a mistake you might end up regretting for the rest of your life. If she tells you up is down, don't argue. Number 11. Don't blow your nose in public.
Okay, don't get sick.
You know it's polite to cover your mouth and nose when you cough or sneeze, but take extra precaution when it comes to blowing your nose in Korea. Obviously, you're not going to shoot any snot rockets on the street. No, please don't do that. But even just taking a tissue and wiping your nose in public is considered extremely rude and lowbrow, especially at the dinner table. And I'm sure while enjoying some spicy Korean cuisine, you'll start wiping a runny nose in no time. Just politely excuse yourself and go wipe or blow your nose in private.
Interesting.
Number 12. Toilet talk isn't taboo. Now, this might come as a surprise, given all the other things on this list, especially that last one about blowing your nose. But talking about your number 1 and number 2 is totally normal in Korea. And I'm not just talking about between family, friends, or partners.
Like they go to dinner and you walk out, I just took a fat dumper.
Oh, it was so big, dude. I almost clogged the toilet.
Even colleagues will go into great detail about their bodily functions. It's absolutely baffling for visitors. So, yeah, there's no taboo whatsoever in discussing how everything is going down there.
And there are no dividers, they're just like right next to each other.
Is it regular? How's the color? The consistency? Everything. In Seoul, they've even built a park dedicated to all things toilet. Well, I guess I can understand where they're coming from. It's all just natural biological stuff anyway, right?
What?
Okay, and enough of that. Are there any cultural taboos and faux pas in your country? Let everybody know down in the comments. Sure. If you learned something new today, then give this video a like. And
all right. Well, we just learned a lot about there were a lot of like interesting things you would not expect at all.
Yeah.
We would have went to Korea and we would have been tipping people. We'd be like, we would have been not. We wouldn't have come out and been like, man, that poop was nice.
No, we would have been like,
I pooped. Yeah. Anyways, interesting video. I actually learned quite a bit from that. If you want to see more videos about South Korea or a video like this
Japan,
from a different country, any other country suggestions you have? Any country?
Mongolia?
Leave them down below. If you enjoyed, make sure to subscribe and leave us more suggestions. Thanks for watching. Bye.